Tris DIxon. I'm a boxing journalist who has been working in the space for 25 to 30 years, former editor of Boxing News, podcaster, author, and all things boxing.
Yeah. It's said anyone can be a journalist due to phenomenal growth of social media. Do you think that's been true in the last couple of years?
Um, I think more and more people are trying to be journalists,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's as easy as that. I think you do need training, grounding, and
Yeah.
experience. And one of the ways of getting the experience is by doing it, but you do need the education and
Mm.
you need to know what questions to ask, how to work with people.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not just a matter of anyone can do it. Like even people who are experienced in it are a work in progress. And it's not as easy as that. It's like you can't say to someone who's never worked in a car or worked on a car, go into a garage and you just start working on
Yeah.
a car. Like it's a skill, it's a trade.
Yeah.
And um yeah, it's not as easy as people make out. And I suppose the thing is as well, like the marker of that is longevity in the sense that, if it's that easy and everyone's so good at it, I'm sure that the people who are just starting out will have
Yeah.
long industrious careers and lucrative careers. But let's let's see, because the good ones, sorry, the good ones will stand the test of time.
Yeah. It's that matter of fact as in people see younger journalists, like not younger, but people just coming into journalism without any experiences, just picking up a camera and not even their camera, just using their phone, some like recording mic and just putting it all on social media, not having that experience, I guess, or the training behind it, like you've just said.
Yeah, and I mean everyone's got to start somewhere, but
Yeah,
it's not as easy as all that. And sometimes, you might get lucky and there might be like a viral video that comes off
yeah,
something that happens. But like I said, true longevity, where you look at people in the journalism space like your Ariel Hawani's, I was just trying to think of people who are respected that spring to mind. Um, yeah, Ed Robinson's at Sky and people like that,
yeah,
like built up a back catalogue of trust. And it's a tough one as well because a lot of success in inverted commas is about stuff that goes viral, but in order
yeah,
to get those viral captures, sometimes people are sacrificing relationships, and sometimes journalism is about the long game and building the relationships rather than just getting clicks
yeah.
on a grabby thumbnail that might bury someone.
Mm. Well, it's a lot easier to receive news nowadays compared to several years ago. There's a lot around it, such as social media, but why do you think it's easier to receive news?
It's just everything's at your fingertips now,
Yeah,
and everyone wants stuff instantly. So, blimey, I could ask Alexa for the news headlines now,
yeah,
um, and it would just reel it off while I'm doing another job.
yeah,
Um, that wasn't always the case, and it sounds like a complete lifetime ago, and I suppose it is for some people. But like one of the main sources of news was newspapers, and now
yeah,
they're pretty much irrelevant given how
yeah,
immediate everything else is. I can't say irrelevant because they offer something, but um, the role that they play has been massively marginalized
yeah,
because news is available everywhere else, and you know a vast percentage of people have mobile phones, and being able to see the news is probably something that a large majority of those people have the ability to do and are interested in.
yeah. I guess people just see it as like a chore, really, to go out and get a newspaper where they've got a phone literally beside them. Whereas they're going to go get a newspaper, they're going taking time out of their day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, people, obviously you can get your newspapers delivered, or you could in the old days as well. But I think
Yeah,
it's a time thing. I think the art of physically reading stuff has dwindled. People are on Kindles and reading online
yeah,
and everything else now. Like there aren't loads of people that like to have a hard book in the hand. Um, and yeah, it's down to preference and culture. You know,
Yeah,
like I was working, and I know it's not 1974, but I started on the staff in Boxing News in 2007. And you know, the vast majority of commuters back then were buying newspapers,
yeah.
and there were newspapers up and down the carriages, you know, discarded newspapers when people have finished with them. Now you could go on a train on the way to London and no one's got a newspaper.
No, it's just everyone on the phone.
Yeah.
So, what going over to more boxing over the media, in recent years, we have seen a growth in the level of cards, venues, and technology due to investment of Saudi. Do you think, in your perspective, we have seen an increase in level of cards compared to 1974 with Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman?
It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say because, you know, Saudi have the reputation now for putting on these mega cards.
Yeah,
There's one in November, obviously, with the Benavidez Yard and
yeah,
that Martinez stuff, Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason. Um, but then you could get the argument where at the end of last year, when they had three fighters from at least three fighters from Boxer on a bill, Eubank Jr., Wardley Clark, the rematch, and
yeah,
Chris Eubank Jr., that one card took away what would have been three headliners in
yeah,
this country. So I think it's some and some. You know, and it's very rare at the moment that you will go online and people say, "Oh, you know, the boxing schedule is really good." Like the boxing schedule is not good.
yeah,
It's been hit hard, but it's been hit by numerous things. You know, a couple of promoters have lost long-term TV deals in recent months and years, and that's had a big effect. So there's been a lot of, you know, boxing's in a bit, I think, in a bit of a transitional state, and I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm struggling to compare it to 1974, particularly that one-off event, which is like one of the iconic events in history, just
yeah,
because, I mean, it obviously predates me, but um, I think, you know, there were probably ebbs and flows through the night through 1974, and this one's ebbed and flowed as well. You know, around late April into May, people will probably say, "Oh, it's looking quite good," and then
yeah,
it just goes quiet. But also traditionally, boxing has had a season which it no longer really has. So I think people have been spoiled by the fact that, you know, traditionally the boxing season ends really at the end of May and into June and
yeah,
starts again in September. But that's not been a thing in recent years. It's just sort of carried on. So I think if you were to look at between, say, the summer months of 1974, it probably was on the quiet side.
yeah. I guess, like you've said, we're getting like three headliner fights in one, and it's getting to the point where it might like wear out, I guess, like not have the same movement just because it's all in one. But there has also been a lot of people saying that it's revived boxing as well. Um, it just depends on your viewpoint, really, doesn't it? Because it's getting those fights, but at the same time, it's too many of those fights in one, like you said.
Right, and also there's quite a few fights that are on the bills that haven't been on the top of anyone's wish list as well. It's not all the best fighting the best. You know,
Yeah,
if you look at it, you know, there wasn't a big queue of people that wanted to see Jai Opetaia against Jack Massey or Ellis Zorro. There wasn't a big queue of people wanting to see Shakur Stevenson against Josh Padley. Um, or Chris Eubank against Kamil Zarameta. Like it's not always the best fight in the best. You know, for some reason everyone
yeah,
thinks it's loaded top heavy, and it is top heavy with stars, but it's not always the best fight in the best. So, um, yeah, it's a tough one that Jamie. Like, um, again, it's kind of some and some, right? And
yeah,
I
it's
think
like
everything
between.
going back to the start in your original line of questioning, I think it's tough. Like, you know, it will be down to longevity. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for boxing right now. I think it's boxing has got a lot of issues that and a lot of it's to do with the lack of TV platforms for
Yeah,
different promoters at the moment, and a lack of income coming into the sport. And it seems to be that blue chip companies have been scared away from wanting to sponsor and be associated with
yeah,
boxing for a long time. So, you know, where's the money and investment going to come from if it's not coming from Saudi?
yeah. Well, we've said a lot about the bigger fights coming up and stuff like that. And would you say boxing has become less strict with its boxers, as in 1974, it was only like certified fighters that could fight, whereas now we're seeing a lot more influencer boxing with the likes of Jake Paul, Salt Pappy, and you've even got the crossover of MMA and boxing.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's always been sort of ways in and ways to do stuff. And I think obviously the stuff you mentioned there is slightly different in the sense that, you know, Jake Paul had a sort of soft launch, didn't he, into boxing, and Salt Pappies and Misfits. And then there's obviously the bare knuckle stuff. Like there's a lot of different entry points. We know Fabio Wardley came out through the
Yeah,
license circuit as well. So there's a lot of different ways of getting involved. And yeah, it is more open now because in the old days it was basically amateur or pro
yeah,
or the unlicensed stuff, which was not big. But now like the stuff with misfits, white collar boxing, it is everywhere. You know, I just read something in my local paper this week about someone having a white collar fight who's had no experience and doesn't even go to the gym.
yeah,
Who like it the barrier for entry is right down. And you know, obviously people like I don't know if people know, but you know, to get a professional license, you have to have some amateur
amateur.
pedigree,
Yeah,
or at very least, you have to do an auditional spar in front of the border control to you have to pass an audition.
yeah,
So it's still relatively tough to get a pro license, but there are if you're not good enough to do that, there are avenues that you can explore to get licensed or not licensed, but to have fights.
yeah. Well, that's all I've got really. The only last thing I've got is what do you think the journalist boxing industry will look like in 50 years?
50 years.
Yeah, like
Crikey.
it's a hard thing to say because it's the college thing I'm doing at the moment where we've got to do 74 present and then in 50 years. So it's kind of like it's a hard thing to predict. But
You think, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, all people like me will be replaced by
yeah,
AI.
yeah,
Um, and you know, how you consume your news would be fascinating. You know, will it be a case of you put on like glasses and
yeah,
is fed to you through glasses and different things like that? I've seen all the different many different prophecies about what it might look like. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see where it goes from here because, you know, we think that we're covering stuff immediately now.
yeah,
How is that immediacy going to go up to the next level? Is it going to be that you're all sat around instead of a TV? Like, say you're watching a boxing match, is it going to be the case where you're sat around on a sofa and you've got actually images of these guys almost like a hologram boxing in front of you?
yeah,
Like literally around on your coffee table or whatever, so that you're almost
yeah.
immersed in the actual experience. I just don't know, Jamie. I mean, it's such a tough one. I
I
mean,
know.
it doesn't bode well for bode well for print product.
Mm,
Um, it's hard to say that, you know, I don't. I thought about podcasts, obviously, where I've been a podcaster. I don't think that they're going to be obsolete. Like, I don't think they're going to be because, you know. You'd like to think people will always run, people will always walk dogs, and they'll always drive in one way, shape, or form. And they'll probably want some sort of companionship
yeah,
that will allow them to consume something while they do that. So I think podcasts and things like that could be around for some time. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. It's
it
guesswork,
is a
and
hard topic. Yeah.
it's partly terrifying, and it's also none of my business because I won't be here.
I mean, if you look at it from like, because I'm doing 74, if you look at 1974, what people said about today, they was completely wrong. And then like now, if we're saying something, it's probably not. It could be true, it could be not. But it's just that you can't predict it 'cause it's that like I wouldn't say unrealistic, but it's just unimaginable. Unimaginable. I can't say that word.
Um,
Unimaginable. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. People would have been predicting spaceships back in 1974, right?
yeah. So they had like flying cars, all that stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it went it. Well, there is a little bit, but not much.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I think some of the things will survive and some won't, and the stuff that will be everyday usage there we've probably not even thought about yet.
Yeah. Well, that about sums it for me. I don't know if you want to add anything from like any experiences you've had or anything like that, or
No, all
so,
good,
yeah.
Jamie. All good.
Oh, thanks for that. It was a really good interview. Got a lot out of it, and thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Jamie. Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.
All
Cheers.
right, bye. Bye.